So in this poem we are dealing with a horse, a certain horse belonging to Mr. Fang, Fang曹胡马. The Hu horse, it says here. Hu. It's sad that the translator didn't just write barbarian horse, because that's what it means. Hu, it sounds like a name here. It sounds like Hu is a certain type of horse, or a certain horse from a certain place, or a horse belonging to a certain people or something. Hu is simply the barbarians. It's the Hu is this word is used more or less the same way that barbarian was routinely used by the Greeks and Romans and historians in their tradition. It's not politically correct today, of course, but that is basically what it means. The Huma, the Barbary horse, and Barbary horses were, of course, much better than stupid Chinese horses. The Emperor Wu of the Han Dynasty even started a large war with the kingdoms of the Fergana Valley in order to obtain these wonderful horses for his many wars. And Fang Cao, Fang of the war section, yes, we don't have to go into that too much. Cao is a title, it's some type of military functionary. And this Mr. Fang, we don't know exactly who he is. But here we have a poem to him by Du Fu, which means he's immortal in some way. We have here what looks to me like a 律诗, a regulated verse, 藤青生横行. Parallel construction. Yes, this is an 8-line regulated verse. 胡马大渊明，风冷瘦骨成. Who was Da Yuan of Fergana fame, it translates, which is not too bad a translation, of course. Da Yuan is quite an interesting name, though, which is perhaps worth going into it a bit. Fergana is a valley in Central Asia, the Fergana Valley. You might say it's the agricultural heartland of Uzbekistan. Most of it belongs to Uzbekistan today. And Da Yuan, this name is actually derived from Ionians. At least that's the theory that I've heard. It comes from, the Da Yuan comes from Yavana in Sanskrit, and Yavana means Greeks, because it's the Ionians. The Ionians, Ionia is the well, you can say the eastern shore of the Aegean Sea. So a part of the Greek world. And Da Yuan, it means Great Greece. And why Great Greece? It sounds very strange, right? Well, it's perhaps not so well known that Alexander the Great founded a city in the Fergana Valley. Alexandria Escata, it was called. That is to say, Alexandria the furthest. And this the city was founded by Alexander, and Greek culture was transplanted to this area hundreds of years before the Christian era, and it became known to the Chinese under this name of Da Yuan, which actually, if you go back at it, etymologically means the land of the Greeks. Da Yuan, and they had wonderful horses there. This area in Du Fu's time, it was under Chinese influence. It's very far away from the Chinese heartland, and it's not an easy travel, but it was under the influence of the Tang Dynasty, but it was not under direct control of the Tang Dynasty. It was disputed with Turkish and peoples and Arabs who were penetrating eastwards at this time. Hu horse of Fergana fame, or the barbarian horse of Greek fame, perhaps. Feng shou gu teng. Yes, Feng Leng is what we can translate as sharp-edged here. Sharp, Feng, of course. Leng is this jutting shape. Formed of skinny bones, actually, yes. 瘦骨成风 or skinny bones. I think you want a horse with skinny bones that aren't too heavy if you want them to run fast. 竹披双耳峻，风入四体轻. This 竹披 is a little bit strange. It either means, it can mean one of two things. Bamboo pad, which is what I think the translation accepts this interpretation. It can mean that it is that sharpened pieces of bamboo, split pieces of bamboo. This P means sort of split or slice. Split pieces of bamboo were actually inserted through the horse's ear in order to sort of train it or tame it, and that this made them stand up and look sort of jutting out. Jun here means, of course, sort of standing up, jutting out, and having a pointed shape. But it might also be a simile. It might also be just a sort of that the ears are sharp and pointed and look like bared bamboo. It's not clear. It's not exactly unambiguous how to understand this. Anyway, if it's a comparison and not a description of an actual sort of implement, it goes better together with this feng ru, because this is a parallel construction, of course. 四体双耳，风入四体轻. Yes, wind enters it, or the four hooves are so light that it seems to wind seems to enter under the horse when it runs. 竹披双耳峻，风入四体轻。所向无空阔，真看托死生. Wherever it heads, 所向, yes, no vast space before it too great. 无空阔, it just says no vast space. It might seem a little bit strange. There's no vast space before it, but I think this is a fair enough sort of translation. We should understand it more or less like that. There's no vast space before it, almost as if it's so fast, it runs so fast and so for such a long time, with such stamina, that it's as if there is no empty space between the horse and its destination. Or you can perhaps also understand it as if you can leap over so large holes or openings that it is as if that there can be no emptinesses before it. Yeah. The other line, very straightforward. Truly, it bears entrusting death and life. Well, we can trust this horse with our lives. 萧腾有如此, since it bounds so valiantly. 萧 means is the bravery of a horse, and teng obviously is bounding ahead or leaping, since it's bounding away, bounds ahead so valiantly. 万里可横行. It can push ahead 10,000 leagues on campaign. Well, on campaign, I don't see that in the line, but 横行, 可横行. 横, it's a word that's often used in this sense. 横 only means actually horizontally, but when it's used like this, it means with great force. It can go with great force 10,000 leagues, and it almost, I would like to sort of hear in this last lines an address to the recipient, Mr. Fang. Since it bounds ahead so valiantly, you can push ahead 10,000 leagues. Because this is a poem translated to a person about his great horse. So this is the tonality that I hear this poem in. Mr. Fang and his great horse. Yes? Simple little poem, very enjoyable. Thank you for watching.